How to quit porn for real, real. I'm in the car, I'm driving, and I love you guys so much that I'm just gonna do this. How to quit porn. This has been my life mission, if you will. It's been a mission to figure out how to quit porn. Not only just quit porn, like it's not about quitting porn, guys. If you've been trying to quit porn and masturbation for long enough, you realize that it's something's off, right? You're missing something. It's not as simple as just taking enough cold showers and praying hard enough and reading enough scripture and talking to the right people. It's like there's got to be something that the billions of men that are struggling with this haven't figured out. And I figured it out, and that's why I'm sharing with this. I have nothing to sell you guys. I'm not going to sell you anything, I promise. I just feel like everyone is confused beyond measure and confused into oblivion, because if you ask anyone, the reason that you think you have a porn habit, of all the hundreds of men that sit with that for a second, okay? Like, let that be etched and tattooed into the forefront of your mind right now. The reason you think you watch porn and masturbate is not the reason. Oh my goodness, if you could just get this, it would take you light years ahead of most people. It's not the reason. And there is always layers deeper to the reason that you think you watch porn than you understand currently. All right? Okay, let's break that down a little bit, because that can get very esoteric. Because if you ask anyone, like, oh, what's the reason you watch porn? If I break it down and say, hey, it's because you don't feel love in your life, right? Okay, cool. That might be true. You don't feel God in your life. Sure, that might be true. I actually don't agree with that 100%. That if you experience God, like true God in your life, you don't need any kind of external behavior or stimulation just to live. You don't need it. But if you just say that, there's something that goes off in people's minds that says, well, that doesn't make sense because it doesn't logically make sense. It doesn't hit the logical part of the brain. And so you have to take people step by step, linearly through the process to understand what you really do need. So on the surface, people say when they first start watching porn and masturbating and trying to stop, they'll first say, well, the reason that I have this behavior is because I have a high sex drive. Okay, that's a surface level understanding. But here's where most people are stuck. That's the main reason that most people believe they have an unwanted porn and masturbation habit, is because I have a high sex drive. Wrong. If that were true, then guess what? People that are in healthy sexual relationships would not struggle with unwanted porn and masturbation. Is that true? No, guys. It doesn't take half a brain or any experience to know that people in married sexual relationships struggle endlessly with porn addiction. So that can't be it. That can't be the main thing. All right, now we're getting somewhere. So what's the next thing? When people understand that, then they start asking more insightful questions, which is, okay, maybe there's some emotional thing. Just maybe there's some emotional needs that I'm trying to satisfy, that I'm trying to understand how to deal with, and I go to masturbation to deal with those emotions. Okay, then we're getting somewhere. Then you start to understand that maybe it's stress. You look at your actual schedule of when you act out sexually. Usually there's one or two big emotions that you have misused, and gone to porn and masturbation. For example, stress, boredom, anxiety, loneliness are kind of the big four. And if you can identify that, it's like, oh, then it's not I'm just some perverted sexual high sex drive freak of nature human being. Then it's, oh, I'm just trying to deal with an emotion, and I've never learned how to deal with that emotion. And that is a more accurate, that's closer to the real truth of what's going on, is that from a young age you just have not known how to deal with specific emotions. In most cases it's stress or loneliness. For a lot of people, it's actually boredom, and for a lot of people it's anxiety. And because you've not learned how to deal with those emotions in a productive way, you've gravitated towards things that seem to very temporarily soothe the emotion, and that would be porn and masturbation. That would be giving a 13-year-old, 12-year-old, however old you were when you first started, unlimited access to the internet. Guess what's going to happen? Yeah, you're going to watch porn. So in some ways, it was inevitable, not excusable, not justifiable, not to trivialize or minimize the severity of a porn addiction, but to understand it. It's understandable, don't you think? It's reasonable that you did. And I'm saying this again, not to understate or trivialize it, but to help you understand that you're not weird. You're not a freak of nature. You're not some high sex drive freak. And that's what you believe, subconsciously or consciously. That's what you've been telling yourself for years because of the shame and the guilt and remorse, or I'm just some weird, perverted freak of nature. No, you're not. In fact, you're the opposite. You're God's child. You're God's son. And your sex drive is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing that is meant to be used for a specific purpose and for a specific person. Right? It's meant to be used to give. It's meant to be used to have children, to create life. It's meant to be used to give to your wife, for goodness sake. It's meant to be used for creative purposes. Sexual energy is a creative energy, if you haven't guessed already. And we have that creative energy so that we can do things, so we can create. But if you use that and you waste that energy on yourself through watching porn and masturbating, especially from a young age at a time where you're supposed to be energized and creative and making things and making a difference, and instead you use that through porn and masturbation, it is wasted. It is wasted. And I'm not saying that to make you guys feel shameful, but really to help liberate you from the feelings of guilt and shame and remorse that have plagued you for so many years, even decades. And so we're getting to the heart of the truth of the matter, is that your sex drive is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. The emotions you feel are beautiful. My gosh, how many times I talk with men that say, oh, I'm bored and I'm stressed and I'm lonely and I'm such a terrible person. I'm like, no, you're not. Those emotions, every single emotion that you think is bad and evil and wrong and has to be squashed is a good thing. Think about that for a second. When you realize, you go, oh my goodness, boredom is not wrong. And I'm not bad for feeling stressed or anxious. In fact, I would say that if you feel those emotions, congratulations, you are a human being. You are suffering from being human. And those emotions can be huge motivators for goodness in your life. My God, loneliness can be such a beautiful motivator to help you get off your butt and actually find connection and love in your lives. Boredom can be an amazing motivator to help you create, to engage, to find meaning and purpose in your life. My goodness, stress can be such a motivator for you to actually protect not just yourself, but the people that you love. They're all great, fantastic. Your sex drive is a beautiful thing. When was the last time somebody told you that? Your parent did not sit you down when you were a teenager and say, congratulations, you are now a sexual being. This is amazing, congratulations, this is awesome. This sex drive is meant to be used to give to your wife, to your woman, to create. That's what I tell my kids, by the way. My son's 9 years old. I tell him every day, not every day, a lot. Good, you're becoming sexually curious. Amazing, that's fantastic. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm not saying that some lovey-dovey, hippy-dippy kind of way. I'm saying that in a very, very truthful way, that your sex drive is a beautiful thing that is given to you by God for good purposes, innately good purposes. And you've seen it because of the fundamental belief that you have that it's evil and it's wrong, you're selfish. It's not true. That's not coming from God, that belief. That belief, that thinking, line of thinking is coming from somewhere else. Call it what you want, guys. Call it what you want. Call it the devil, Satan, false self, call it your ego. I don't care what you call it. But you can't deny that there is something in your head that is telling you lies are not true. You can't deny that. The scientific community would call it the ego. The religious community would call it Satan or the false self. Whatever, it doesn't matter. There's a polarity of goodness and evil that's going on, and if you continue to ignore those facts, then you will always succumb to failure, to losing, and defeat in this battle. This is World War III, if you haven't noticed. World War III is not coming as portrayed in the media and the news to help produce fear and induce anger and outrage in you so that they can make a profit. World War III is not coming, guys. World War III is already here. It's happening in your mind. It's a battle between your mind and your body, between your spirit and your soul, between what you want with your life and what you're doing right now. It's the discrepancy between your values and who you truly think and ought to be and your actions that are happening today. That's the war that's happening. And if you continue to ignore it and say, oh, there's no evil that's happening in me, there's none of that, I don't care. But don't you agree that something is not working? Don't you think there's something that's not working? Of the years that you've tried, all the things you tried to quit porn and masturbation, don't you think that there is something that is not working? And so you can continue to do the things that don't work, or you can listen to someone that has not only made it work in my life, but also helped men make it work in your life. And again, I say that telling you I have nothing to sell you. So don't think I'm gonna sell you on some course or program, all right? I'm telling you everything right now, everything that is here totally for free for you guys, all right? All right. So now we're getting to know the root of the issue a little bit, all right? It's more of an emotional thing. It's more of a disunity, a discrepancy between your mind and body, between your spirit and your body, whatever you want to call it. There's a discrepancy there. Now let's get into how to do this. Let's break this down to the very subconscious level, all right? And talking about subconscious can very quickly become very esoteric and lack practical application. So I'm going to make this as simple as practical as possible. Your subconscious, to a degree, is what is keeping you addicted to porn and masturbation. Because you have trained your subconscious to believe, my friend, that you need this, that this is part of your life, that this is part of your identity. You are an addict and you always will be. Okay? And because of that belief, you are going to keep that with you for as long as you need it to be, for as long as you let it be. You're going to keep that belief in your subconscious. It's, oh, I need this because when I feel stressed or aroused or whatever, you're going to keep this behavior in your life. And that's what your behavior is telling you because of your subconscious. All right? So if you're with me, we've got to learn how to retrain subconscious. Retrain the subconscious to actually set yourself up for victory long term and change your reality moving forward. So how do we do that? How do we set up your subconscious for victory? Well, let's look at it like this. Try this for 15 minutes a day for the next week. 15 minutes a day for the next week. Try this. Just try this, all right? Sit in silence for 15 minutes a day. Sit in silence. Some people call it prayer. Some people call it meditation. I don't care. Whatever you call it, it's your opportunity to connect with your subconscious, to bring closer together your conscious and your subconscious, your mind and body. I recommend doing this in the morning or evening, as soon as you wake up, or right before you sleep, because that's when we're most in tune with our subconscious. That's when our brain wavelengths are lowest. If you know anything about like alpha waves or beta waves, anyways, besides all that, you're most susceptible to being connected and in tune with your subconscious right when you wake up or right before you go to bed. All right, so just do it at one of those times for 15 minutes a day for the next week. And during this 15 minutes, just imagine, well, first of all, breathe, try to get present, and let your mind wander to what would it feel like to not have porn and masturbation in your life anymore? What would it feel like? And become so in tune with that. Make it very vividly, so vividly clear, almost like you're really seeing it in a dream. But really envision it. And the important part is to make note of how it feels and feel that emotion while you're sitting there in silence and doing this experiment. Sit there in silence and sit there in the emotion. And what will happen is when you arise from this, if you do it consistently, when you arise from this 15 minutes of silence, you will feel the emotion of not having porn and masturbation in your life. So what does that do? It tricks your body. It tricks your body to believe that this is a reality right now, not in the future. And when you do this practice, you're uniting, you're linking together your conscious and subconscious, so much so that you're fooling your subconscious and your body to believe that you're living a life where porn and masturbation are not part of your life, and you will act accordingly. Imagine for a second that you never discovered porn and masturbation. You would be a lot less likely to go to it, right? If you've never done cocaine, for example, you're probably not going to do cocaine at this stage in your life, right? Maybe you have done cocaine. I don't know. But whatever drug that you've never done, let's just say that. The point is that you're bringing your future reality based on your past experience, and so you've got to retrain your brain to not have this part of your reality. So that's the simplest way that I can explain to you guys how to train your subconscious to not even desire porn and masturbation, is to just remove it from your reality completely, as this is not as something that you experience. And if you do that enough consistently, then that is the reality that you will bring moving forward. Okay, hope this is helpful for you guys. Lots of love to you. I'll catch you in the next video. See you.